people. This is a very good news that is reaching us right now. This issue of airstrike going on in Nigeria, the way the US is destroying the terrorist group and destroying both their hideouts everywhere they are hiding. It is now causing another move and another push. So, according to the reports coming, they said US push for the new Christian nation in Nigeria after the second airstrike in Sokoto that caused Gumi to start running. If you look very well, the second airstrike that destroy so many of them at their hideouts, it makes these Gumi of a thing start talking, ranting, and they saying a lot of things concerning how the US have now they have now placed their satellite on him. He's claiming that they are now chasing him. His life is at stake. So many things he has been saying about it. And in this video, you are going to hear from this congressman by himself directly, the way they are addressing everything and how Nigeria is going. So don't skip any part of it. Make sure you watch it and you hear everything by yourself, and you see the way everything is going. Because this issue of terrorists and bandits moving everywhere in Nigeria, the government of Nigeria, they don't even believe that it will be this way, that the American president Donald Trump will come so hard this way. So they are now confused, even though this issue of Biafran, so they are also confused about it. So they don't know what they are doing. So I was about to watch, like, subscribe, and make sure you share the video to grow and let others see what is really going on in Nigeria.
FTO, Foreign Terrorist Organization, you can't believe what the pushback was both in Abuja, because I went and met with members of Congress there. They all thought that it was some kind of punishment. We said this is a way of trying to track where the weapons and money and everything else is coming from for Boko Haram, to mitigate the threat and hopefully abolish the threat. And without good research, that just simply does not happen. For 3 years, I tried to get an FTO designation. 3 years. Ambassador or Assistant Secretary Johnny Carson testified at one of my hearings, and I asked him very pointed questions about it. And here's what he said. He said, the phenomena of Boko Haram is one of discrediting the central government in power for its failure to deliver services to the people. In other words, not enough food, water, as if that's what they were objecting to. Not the creation of a caliphate and an absolute horrible belief towards Christians, but also to non-radical Muslims. I've met with many imams throughout Nigeria, and I get the same story. If they speak out, they're firebombed, they're killed, and many of the pious Muslims have lost their lives as a direct result of these Fulani, the Boko Haram and ISIS West Africa. So, this culture of denial is very, very real, and it persists right to this moment. I do believe that President, through his bold declaration of CPC, has begun a very serious reversal of that. But we had a very high-level group led by the top person for security for Nigeria, Rabidu, who brought in like 15 top people. I met with them for an hour and 45 minutes. And frankly, it was shocking how what a culture of denial they all ascribe to. Saying this has nothing to do with anti-Christians and targeting of Christians. And I went through everything I could possibly think of to say, please, stop this. They even said, don't punish us with CBC. There's no punishing. I said, this is a mirror. We're standing for your people who are being killed and raped and abducted, like most recently the St. Mary girls. But Chibok. Frank was right. I remember Hillary Clinton holding up, save the Chibok girls. And I would go to the Obama administration and say, what are you doing for real? There needs to be a very serious effort, counterintelligence and counterinsurgency efforts. And there was some of that, but it fizzled. almost nothing really was done to really stop that threat. And of course, the threat spread. And then on the Fulani, Secretary of State for Biden testified twice. He made a trip to Abuja and goes into the Capitol and says, no more CPC. The great work that Bob Destro did and our former Secretary of State and Frank Wolf again on this, he just nullified it. So I asked him at 2 hearings, what was your criteria? Crickets. It's global warming, he says. You know, really, I'll show you the Brooklyn Bridge if that were true. Of course that's not true. And you just, and even in that closed meeting, it's not that close because I'm willing to disclose this, I had one of the top officials who were in that delegation just a few weeks ago say that Bishop nnamdi is a liar. Here's the man who has suffered so much. His parishioners, his priests have been killed, and they say he's a liar. So that culture of denial has to be stopped. Thank God President Trump has done what he's done, and he means it. Yes. He, you know, Secretary of State Marco Rubio, you know, he's a true human rights guy, and I think right down the line they're going to do everything they can to reverse all of this. The special envoy idea, you know, I offered a resolution during the Biden administration that got a vote in the committee. It passed 26 to 21. I sadly say every Democrat voted against it, and it was to designate Nigeria as a CPC country. Every one of them. We even had a special envoy embedded in the resolution, and a Republican offered the amendment to take that out. So, you know, we got the envoy, and Frank is right, what Senator Danforth did, and ditto for Northern Ireland. You know, to his credit, President Clinton did appoint a special envoy, and that crisis would have never been resolved the way it was, of, you know, the IRA and everyone else killing each other there. So it's just you know, the special envoy with a direct access to the president would make a serious difference. I am introducing another bill, and it'll be Riley's going to be joining me on it. It's going to be a whole series of recommendations. There's also a series of recommendations being made to the president, and it's a great initiative. The president asked for that, and he's going to get it. And I do believe he'll be as faithful as it gets in following it up. Finally, I just want to say we need to, you know, we've got Global Magnitsky, but we also have the Frank Wolf International Religious Freedom legislation, the law. Designate individuals, put them on the list. I remember being in DR Congo, and they were very upset that they were on the list and were being sanctioned individually. I remember meeting with Bashir in Sudan. He hated that there were sanctions leveled against his country, and of course he committed genocide as well. So I just, individuals, you know, those sanctions make a huge difference. And, you know, just by way of the template, that where did all that come from? In 2004, I wrote the Belarus Democracy Act. That legislation was targeted at Lukashenko, another horrible dictator, and it was all about visa denial and disallowing them to be doing any kind of economic work in the United States. They're just barred from it. 200 different individuals were put on that, and all of a sudden prisoners started getting released in Belarus. Of course, Belarus has gone all into Putin and his horrible war against Ukraine, and we're going to try to reauthorize that law again. But the idea of Magnitsky, the Magnitsky Act, the global Magnitsky sanctions, they're sitting there as low-hanging fruit to say, this person, this person, this person. And also, just let me say, we need to look very seriously, and perhaps even Magnitsky sanctioned individuals for what's happening in 12 of the states where Sharia law is being used with impunity to go after, again, pious Muslims and also Christians. I met with Adamu, the man that Frank mentioned a moment ago, in a IDP camp in Jos on one of my trips there. And I had met with Archbishop Kegama, who is a holy and an amazing man. He's now in Abuja, but he was then the bishop of Jos. We went to 5 of his churches that have been firebombed. We also went over to an IDP camp, and I met this man, evangelical, who Boko Haram burst into his home. His wife was screaming, "Please don't hurt my husband." And these terrorists put an AK-47 to his cheek and said, "You renounce your faith or I'll blow your brains out." And he says, "I'm ready to meet my Lord." They asked him again, and then they pulled the trigger. And he had disfigured face, and he's not the only one. There's so many who have suffered like this. And I mean, what courage, what faith So he came and he testified, and you could have heard a pin drop when he gave his testimony. It was so moving, and it also said to all of us, you know, what are we doing? What am I doing? What are any of us doing to try to stop this terrible slaughter? So this is the opportunity, the window of opportunity. Frank put in his law more than 12.5 very specific sanctions, including things like using voice and vote at the World Bank, at the IMF and elsewhere, to really raise this issue and say, okay, we're not going to be part of allowing any kind of economic help unless you really get involved with stopping this terrible thing. Frank, thank you again. IRFA is, the International Religious Freedom Act, is historic. And again, we wouldn't be here. We wouldn't have the legal leg to stand on without it. And we're in the presence of a great.
Yes, that is what we used to hear. Once they say that the U.S. Army, they are coming to Nigeria to destroy those terrorists, those bandits, you will see the same Muslim people, they'll be claiming that it is not only the Christians. So if it is not only the Christians, why can't you people speak the truth and allow the U.S. Army to destroy those people that is even buying you people also? And then once they are coming to stop them, and you'll be claiming that it is not only the Christians, and then you are now be sympathizing to them, meaning that you are now supporting the evil they are doing. If you are now having some sympathy on them, that it is not only the Christian that they are buying. And then it is almost the thing this man said here, it is almost the thing that is happening in Nigeria, all of them. So the Islam, I don't know what they used to think about. And this issue of buying of Christians, and we are also seeing that very soon you will see that Donald Trump will push for the creation of a new state, new country, as a new Christian country in Nigeria. And that is what will really later come to pass. Because sometimes all those issues of it is not only the Christian, but let the government do the part. Let the government chase away those evil that is causing all those things, but they will not do it. So it is it. So I would like you to listen to this Biafran evangelist who explained a lot concerning this issue of things that is really happening in the country. Don't skip any part of it. Try to watch to the end so that you understand things going on in Nigeria.
I want to read something from Nigeria's president. He says the characterization of Nigeria as religiously intolerant doesn't reflect our national reality. Religious freedom and tolerance have been a core tenet of our collective identity and shall always remain so. Nigeria opposes religious persecution and does not encourage it. He says the picture we're getting here is not accurate.
You know, unfortunately, that is completely false. I mean, there are states in Nigeria that have blasphemy laws, people who are facing the death penalty right now for blasphemy against Islam. There's a person currently right now who's held in prison for defending himself from attack from a Muslim militant from the Fulani tribe. He defended himself, and he's facing the death penalty. So, no, there is serious persecution happening in Nigeria. I know the president, Tinubu, is in a difficult position in trying to protect his interests there in that country, but they are complicit in this to one degree or another with statements like this.
Now, if a foreign country will come and kill them, and this foreign country will make the mistake of saying, I'm going to protect a certain thing, automatically their psyche is that certain thing that you are trying to protect is my enemy. And look how, and you see Nigerians, the Muslims in Nigeria, whether they are victims or whatever it is, they wouldn't allow a criminal country like.
Let me stay with you.
No, wait. They wouldn't allow America to come in here and do any military. What happened with what happened is when French
exposes many things about Nigeria. How can you be trying to judge somebody with a law that does not exist? Where is it on? I say, allow nnamdi kanu to read it out with the microphone. Make so many, in fact, impacts in this struggle. So, and I believe that Finnish government want, they are now themselves want to do the needful. Because why they hold the man and why they jail the man, the purpose and the dream was not achieved. So what is the essence?
But Ngozi continues to argue that the Finnish government and the Nigerian government are playing games with this Simon Ekpa's issue. What do you think could be? Is it because of what, just like what everybody know? Is it because of the contract, or is it because of allegedly because of the oil that has been promised to them? Why do you think that according to Ngozi, I said there are a lot of evidence to see that Simon Ekpa is not really the cause of the problem or the security currently ravaging Nigeria?
If they not tell you, say you no go know.
So Finland should be seeing what is happening.
Finnish government knows what they are doing. They are criminal nation. They are terrorist nation, and they should be regarded and treated as one. Yes, you cannot partner with them. See, look at evidence every corner, and then let them look at it. Ever since they hold this man, I've been saying that they are complaining. They even accuse this man of does he stop? That should be the question. Does he stop? And if he didn't stop, that means the man is innocent. That means the man is not the one doing it. But people, just because of the contract, do you know that the Nigerians have given them another contract? Just to make sure that that Simon Ekpa, they did not free him. Look at the game they are playing with nnamdi kanu. And people, they are still busy killing people. Even as Donald Trump is still giving warning. So tell me, how do Nigeria stand to defend it? And moreover, the so-called Mr. President is not doing anything, neither is he saying anything. He's not doing it because, my brother, I believe in action. Which action did he take? And I demand that you say, okay, he says Sidious Musa is not working. You remove Sidious Musa, you put your brother. The man that you put there now, wait, what is the action? Where is the action? Because I still watch these people, Iswab the other day, they are parading, doing what they are doing. Even to the point that yesterday that they killed this commander. What is still holding Nigeria for army not to act? A woman made a confession 2 days ago. Do you know her confession? She said right there in their home that these militias, terrorists appeared. They came in mass with their guns and they started shooting, disturbing everybody in the society. So which they try to, she don't manage. Everybody just managed to escape. She managed at the end of the day escape with her children, leaving the husband, which at the end of the day, do you know that they later come back the next day to set the whole buildings, to set every villages ablaze, which resulted to the death of her husband. As we speak now, Plateau State, Benue State is zero. It's zero. They have shut down churches. They have closed down schools. The woman even confessed that the mosque that did not burn down mosques, it was only worshiping center of the Christians. It's a place that they burned down and they make sure that they brought everything down. And schools, but they allow only the Muslim their mosques to remain there. That is the country we are in. And some persons will come out and say such a thing is not happening in Nigeria. No genocide against Christians because of their what? The ideology of Islamizing Nigeria.
That is it. They want to turn everybody to Islam. But that will not work because you cannot force anybody to become Islam. You cannot. You claim that Islam is a movement of peace, freedom, and the rest of them. But deep inside, it is full of war, threatening of war, life, and other things. So it is not that manly peace the way they used to proclaim that it is. So this issue of Biafra, every day they keep hearing new agitation and the new people rising up for the sovereign state of Biafra. The only solution for Nigerian problem is to divide the country. Let those who wants to be free, and those who want to remain one Nigerian, to remain as one Nigerian. But this issue of you must be, Nigeria is unnegotiable, Nigeria is undivisible, Nigeria is this, Nigeria is that, it cannot work, and it is destroying everybody. That is the main problem we are facing in this country. So my people, I would like to hear your comments down below. What do you think about the Odin happening in Nigeria? Like, subscribe, and share the video to go and let others see things going on in the country we called Nigeria.